PS2 original, right? When you were young.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got the other iconic duo from the golden age of platforming, Jak and Daxter. Now, Jak 2 Renegade was a game I both loved and hated. Loved because it was excellent, hated because it was challenging, and, as we've established, I don't like challenge. Despite the fact Jak 2's pretty hard anyway, there are a couple of instances where the game hones its difficulty blades and shoves them right through your thumbs. We've made mention of this early laser tank bit in a previous Friday feature, but even worse than that is the sequence later on where, after securing a valuable plot-centric item, you have to escape with it through the water slums.
Not a problem. I know the water slums like the back of my soon-to-be crippled hand. I'll just get through them easy.
Here comes some Crimson Guards and some more Crimson Guards. And look, behind you some 3 hours until you're so overpowered you can walk through the boss like he's made of wet paper.
The answer for me is always yes. I'm a JRPG bully. I like the feeling of being over-leveled, of listening to a villain's dastardly monologue and then dismissing them like they're nothing.
This is how I approached Final Fantasy VII. I learned Cloud's Meteorane limit break before I even got to Nibelheim. I grinded so much. It was so easy, and I was loving it. Then, during your visit to the Temple of the Ancients, the game hits you with a sickener. For plot reasons, you had to use Aeris. Ugh, stupid, haven't been using her so she's underleveled, hit things with a rubbish stick, Aeris. And then it makes you fight not one boss, but 2, in quick succession. The dragon isn't too much of a problem, but the second boss, Demon's Gate, ugh. See how he comes through the wall there? He sometimes does that in my dreams, materialising randomly in, I don't know, my geography classroom from year 7.
The thing about Demon's Gate is he isn't just aggressive, he's also got impenetrably high defense stats that turn every attack in your arsenal into feeble, turn-based tickles.
I'd also forgotten to equip my recently acquired Bahamut materia when I first fought Demon's Gate. Literally the only attack that can get around his defences, and so he made absolute mincemeat out of me. I probably deserved it. Next up, and to my shame, we've got the tutorial of Driver. Can it be a difficulty spike if it's the first thing you do? Probably not, but I'm including it anyway because this is basically like an ultra-difficult entry-level exam, locking the fun of the main game behind a reinforced steel door you have to melt by performing blazing hot automotive gymnastics. I mean, we're just getting to grips with the game, aren't we? It should be telling me how to look up and down and turn left and right. This is your first lesson, for crying out loud.
Right, so you slowly bring up the clutch there, and you feel that there. That's the buy point. That means the car is ready to go. Okay, cool. Well, what I want you to do in your own time, you slowly bring up that clutch,
And then quickly reverse it to 180 degree spin in the middle of the road. 360, 360, double up quickly, and go as fast as you can. Faster, 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 stop! And slalom you idiot. Do you want to play this game or not? I said slalom!
When it comes to difficulty spikes, our next entry sticks about 40 of them in a massive pillar, rotates them round and round, and then says, climb through that lot, ha ha ha. It's God of War's notorious column of doom, of course, and yes, there are other sudden flashes of difficulty in the series, an honourable mention to God of War Ascension's Trial of Archimedes, but this agonising climb towards the end of the original has sort of become a cult favourite. Everyone knows what you're talking about as soon as you mention rotating Spike Tower.
The most galling thing about it, in my opinion, is that it doesn't test any of the skills you've spent an entire game perfecting.
Your combat abilities are redundant. It doesn't matter how many Minotaurs you can perform invasive throat surgery on, the game is reduced to a simple task. Move up and down while avoiding the things moving from side to side. It's Frogger, basically, but harder and in the underworld. I mean, you'd just hack the spikes off with the Blades of Chaos, wouldn't you? Last up, we've got a difficulty spike from another RPG. An RPG with bosses so startlingly difficult you'll die lots and be forced back into the wilds to rethink your strategy and maybe cry just a little bit. I am, of course, talking about Ni no Kuni. Yeah, that's right. Dark Souls doesn't have difficulty spikes, does it? It's difficult all the time. Ni no Kuni, on the other hand, lulls you into a false sense of security with its fairy tale visuals and 4-year-old protagonist.
He's 13.
He's 13.
Anyway, that's besides the point. The fact is, you expect Ni no Kuni to be a breeze. It isn't. Some of those boss fights are rock hard, even if, like me, you over-level yourself to the point of EXP obesity. The one I'm picking is Porco Grosso, a rampaging pig tank thing you have to fight in Hamlin. It's aggressive, powerful, and has really high defensive stats. Basically, it'll batter you if you're not really on your game. Its attacks capable of rapidly smacking you from perfectly healthy to, oh my god, I can't remember how to open the item menu, in seconds.
I can't believe he's 13. Seriously.
That's it for this week. 7 difficulty spikes that will utterly destroy you. Let us know in the comments if you can think of any others. Click one of the links on screen to watch another Friday feature. Give us a like so I can feed my family. And subscribe for more videos like this every week. Thanks for watching.
This is getting stupid now.
No.
What's he doing?
Writing a blog about how being nominated for an award has reinforced his opinion that he is better than everyone else.
This is just getting worse, isn't it?
He's even started retweeting praise now. At Delsim Rodent, you're the only reason I watch the videos. Way to go. At Delsim Rodent, you are a legend. Help, I think I've fallen in love with at Delsim Rodent. And then, oh, hang on, what's this he's retweeted? New Friday feature idea. How about the stupidest things we've done for trophies? Well, that's possibly the only useful thing you've done all week.
So yeah, thanks Alex Sprackling who tweeted that idea. This week you've done half my thinking for me, which, being as astoundingly lazy as I am, feels absolutely lovely. So just for you and anyone else who fancies watching, here are 7 ridiculous things we've done in games, just for trophies.
Our first entry is a prime example of how we'll chuck our moral compass in the sea at the faintest whiff of digital bling. Yes, even if it's just a bronze.
Dastardly is a trophy you can earn in Red Dead Redemption for hog-tying an innocent woman. I know, awful, but that's not even it. You then have to dump her on some train tracks. Yes, and then wait for the inevitable splat, like some kind of mad, silent movie arch-villain with a curly tash and title cards for laughter.
That's an awful thing to do, even from my position, standing neck-deep in the effluent of video games' moral sewer, but, you know, I really like that noise. Worth it.
Metal Gear Solid 2 is up next, and we've got... I said Metal Gear Solid 2 is up next, and we've...
We only filmed up to 40 marks on the tally.
For goodness sake, hang on a sec. Right. Metal Gear Solid 2 is up next, and we find ourselves sneaking up behind a literal army of US Marines. Also, we can take a picture of a guy in his underpants.
I mean, first things first, why is one of the Marines standing there in his underpants in the first place? Maybe the game takes place inside his anxiety dream, or maybe it's directed by Hideo Kojima. Either way, Snake is ignoring the pressing matter of snapping photographic evidence of a new Metal Gear prototype in favour of uploading panty pics to Otacon, for which you get this.
This is hilarious! But we can't use it.
Oh yeah, and you get a nice trophy too, of course, which is definitely the only reason we'd ever take a photo of a man in his underwear and upload it to a fake in-game server when we're supposed to be saving the world.
What a strange power trophies have over us and the way we play. We've already established we'll do evil things, perverted things to get at them. But even more amazingly for this third entry, it turns out we'll deliberately be absolutely rubbish at a game, even if friends are watching.
Take Getting My Ass Kicked, a temptingly easy trophy offered up by God of War's PS3 HD remaster. For this to pop, you have to die enough times for the game to take pity on your clumsy thumbs and offer you easy mode, which, if you're not completely awful at God of War, may not happen at all. So what to do if you're a dedicated trophy hunter?
Yes,
find a hole and jump down it over and over until you hit the required death counter. Or, you know, you could just stand there and let simple enemies pummel you into the dust. Oh, sorry, Kratos. It is worth it, I promise. God, imagine how angry this is making him. The next entry on our list is all in the name of a fairly mundane-sounding trophy from Gran Turismo 5 called Endurance Series Complete. And all you have to do is, yes, complete the Endurance Series. You don't even have to ace it, just a simple bronze in each event at either A spec or B spec is enough to make the trophy yours, which sounds so easy, even Dave's going to give it a try.
Right, so you ready for this? Okay, you're going to need to do the Grand Valley 300 kilometres. That's quite far. The Roadster 4-hour endurance. The Laguna Seca 200 miles. They're getting more doable, I think. The Indy 500. I mean, that's a short name. The Suzuka 1,000 kilometres, which sounds long, but is only 100 centimetres when you think about it. The Nürburgring 4-hour endurance, the Tsukuba 9-hour endurance, you probably book a day off for that one, and then just 24 hours of Le Mans and 24 hours of Nürburgring. But you do get a bronze trophy afterwards.
Entry number 5 is an excellent example of the kind of torturously repetitive gameplay we'll endure just to hear the soothing ping of digital reward. The trophy in question being Lightning Dancer from Final Fantasy X HD. Now, if you want to get everyone's celestial weapon to maximum Dark Aeon trouncing power in Final Fantasy X, there are a bunch of ridiculous things you'll need to do, like running a butterfly-themed obstacle course through some crystals, or winning a chocobo race in under 0 seconds, that's a good one. But dodging 200 lightning bolts in a row on the Thunder Plains, that just takes the biscuit. Oh well, there's a trophy calling and Lulu needs her Onion Knight to be well strong, so let's hunker down by Rin's travel agency and start dodging thunder. 1, 2,
184. 185.
Come and try these potato waffles over. I'm in the bathroom.
in a minute!
No!
What's the most ridiculous weapon you've ever used in a video game? I'd usually list about 3 examples here, but I can't think of any, so we'll go straight to the point. In Sleeping Dogs, you get a trophy for killing someone with a fish. And I don't mean shoving them in a tank full of hungry tiger sharks, I mean slapping them so hard in the face with a frozen salmon, they simply keel over and die.
So, got any fish-related puns I could use, Mr. Award nominee? You'll have a splitting haddock in the morning. Why don't you get back to your stupid blog?
Final entry, and sorry Dave, it's another Metal Gear one, who'd have thought? This absurd bit of gaming behaviour struck me as extra ridiculous given the gravity of Snake Eater's narrative. But then, trophies, what wouldn't you do? Turns out you wouldn't think twice about risking getting spotted, killed, tortured, or the Cold War blowing up into something a whole lot hotter, all for the sake of a bunch of Keratin frogs. You need to shoot all 64 of these croaky little beggars for the trophy. It ain't easy being green, and some of them are a right pain in the neck to find.
There's one in a jeep chase towards the end that whizzes by in a flash, so you've got to be concentrating extra hard, although not on the enemies, obviously.
There's just something unmatchably silly about the greatest soldier of the 20th century crawling around the Russian jungle, dodging crocodiles and guards and nuclear tanks called the Shagahod, all for collectible toy frogs. What a hero. So there you go, 7 ridiculous things we've done in games just for trophies. If you can think of any more, or if you've got any ideas for future Friday features, then please let us know in the comments. We're all ears. Otherwise, give us a like to make us strong, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos just like this one every Friday. Thanks for watching.
Hello, you've caught me in the middle of possibly the most fiddly task known to man, putting keys onto a key ring. Right, that's that one done.
Dave, can you pass me the back door key, please?
Weapons in video games are undoubtedly very cool. They look amazing, pack more punch than an A-list pool party, and because they're wielded by characters unburdened by the real-life constraints of irritating forces like gravity, they can be the size of school buses if the designers like.
Here are 7 video game weapons way too dangerous and impractical for real life. So much so, we got 3D Print Wizard's My Mini Factory to make them anyway.
First up is Soul Edge, a weapon so demonically evil it's even usurped its various wielders as the antagonist of the Soul Calibur series. No mean feat when you consider its main wielder looks like this and is called Nightmare. So that's one pretty evil sword.
Apparently, it started life as a normal, innocent two-hander, but after being exposed to so much blood and hatred and death, it developed a wicked soul all of its own. And an eye, apparently. That's lovely, isn't it?
Nasty engines installed and running at full power, Soul Edge claims the essence of whomever was unlucky enough to control it, occasionally played out in gameplay terms, with its wielder gradually losing health in exchange for a boost in attack power. It's sort of like a sharper, bigger Eye in the Blade rather than on a tower version of the One Ring, an inanimate dark force that feeds on the souls of men and manipulates them into carrying out its dark biddings.
Luckily, this replica is made out of whatever material 3D printers use, and so it has literally no effect on me whatsoever. So beautiful.
Next up is the M8 Avenger assault rifle from Mass Effect 2 and 3, and ignoring the fact it shoots lasers, is versatile, mobile, effective at various ranges, can be upgraded, carry ridiculous amounts of ammo, and be used by multiple squad members, I'm putting it on this list because it just looks so damn cool.
I mean, after default Shepard's granite carved, chiseled cheeks and the N7 armor, this thing is the most iconic item in Mass Effect.
Look at the effect it can have on a person's coolness. Here's a picture of me not holding the M8 Avenger assault rifle from Mass Effect. I look tired, old, and I've lowered the saturation. And here's me not holding the M8 Avenger assault rifle from Mass Effect. Point proven, thank you very much. What's next?
It's the revolver gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII, a weapon I liked the look of so much that on my first playthrough I kept it equipped right up until the Ultima Seer boss fight, which goes some way to explaining why I got my ass kicked every single time.
What a weapon, though, and I bet we all had that similar eureka moment, didn't we? Well, those of us who didn't pay attention to the battle tutorial anyway. When you realise if you press R1 at exactly the right time, Squall pulls the trigger as he connects for a critical hit. You see the gun blaze, the clue is in the title, is a gun, and, yeah.
So it's got the chamber here where the bullets go, and even the handle's like a gun, isn't it? In fact, now I think about it, it's more like a gun than a sword.
What I love most about the Gunblade is that it takes time to become a true master, both in the world of the game and in the hands of the player. Give it 10 hours or so and you'll be pulling off the R1 critical hit without even thinking. It becomes so habitual you'll be pressing R1 for everyone, even though Zell definitely doesn't have bullets in his gloves, nor Selphie in her nunchucks, or Questis in her whip. The true test of Gunblade mastery comes when performing Renzo Kuken, however. Nailing a perfect limit break every time, no matter the timing of the blows, is what sets you apart. And the satisfaction of unleashing Lionheart, whoa, amazing.
Step aside, Dave.
Try it now!
Yes, entry number 4 is Kingdom Hearts Kingdom Key, the default version of the Keyblade wielded mainly by spiky-haired and unnaturally big-footed protagonist Sora. In the game, it's a wonderful magical weapon that can do pretty much whatever the story needs it to do. It can kill Heartless, it can shoot light at big keyholes in the sky and seal worlds and open treasure chests, and it's brilliant, yeah!
In real life, however, it's just a big, useless nothing. What is... Because I'm not the true Keyblade Master, is that? That's why I can't use it, is it? Right. That worked though, didn't it?
Number 5 on our list is Galahorn, an exotic weapon so ludicrously big and famous you don't even need to be a Destiny fan to know all about it. So what that its obscene power has been curtailed after the Year 2 update. Back in the day, Galahorn was a must-have, a super-powered rocket launcher that pulverized bosses and other tough enemies, and that made high-level strikes in the original Vault of Glass raid a slightly less impossibly difficult task.
In fact, Galahorn became so vital to doing things like the Vault of Glass raid on hard mode that often you'd find yourself not being allowed into a fire team if you didn't own it.
Yeah, you're right, mate. What level are you? Level 13. Got your galley? Yeah, right. Alright, hang on, mate. What level are you?
29.
What are you packing?
Cerberus regime.
Out!
Next up, we've got the Blades of Chaos, Kratos' lethal pair of one-handers that he uses in the original God of War Chains of Olympus, and God of War Ascension. As well as being brutally efficient at slicing up all of Greek mythology, the Blades of Chaos have some truly horrific origins. Forged by Ares, the actual God of War and antagonist of the first game in the series, in the red-hot belly of the underworld, the blades were specially made for his servant.
Now, I don't know about you, but on the rare occasion I specially make something for someone, the giving of the something is usually quite a pleasant affair. Dave, I've specially made a USB filled with clips of me being mean to you in Friday features.
But when Ares specially made the Blades of Chaos for Kratos, and he even had them delivered by Carrier Harpy, which is very romantic, what he failed to mention was how they'd be permanently seared onto Kratos' arms with chains, and that in addition to having 2 lumps of deadly metal welded to his hands forever, he'd also be induced into a trance-like war frenzy and kill his family, and then have their ashes plastered onto his body as a reminder.
That's not the worst bit about having blades seared to your arms, though, is it? The worst bit would be just having to perform everyday tasks like, I can't gesticulate how I'd want to, I can't rub my hands together. I mean, how does Kratos go to the toilet? Ow!
Our final entry this week is the Portal Gun from Portal and Portal 2. And while technically you could say this isn't a weapon so much as a clever puzzle-solving device, I felt I had to include it anyway simply because it's just so iconic. Capable of linking 2 points in space by shooting out a pair of compatible wormholes, the Portal Gun can nonetheless be very dangerous if used irresponsibly. Like if you plop one on the moon, say, and then the other in the room that you're in.
It's not a toy. You shouldn't muck about with it, although it doesn't really matter anyway, because I haven't got any idea how it... Right, you come here.
Hello, my name's Dave, and I like making stupid rap videos and complaining about your Friday features.
Dave.
That's it. 7 video game weapons way too dangerous for real life, but that we made anyway. Check out the description for more info on the 3D printed replicas in this video. Let us know in the comments if you know how I can resuscitate Dave, and subscribe for more of these videos every Friday. Thanks for watching.
Hello, you've caught me following the rules of being in a video. For example, I'm not swearing, I'm engaging directly with the audience, and I'm not naked. Yet.
There are similar unspoken rules for just about everything in life. Off to make a cup of tea, the rule is you ask anyone else if they want one first, unless you're Dave. In the toilet, the rule is you don't come out until everyone else has gone, even if you finished like ages ago. playing a video game. The medium has built up its own set of rules over time, a special language that all gamers learn.
So when some games decide to break those rules with some truly outrageous moments, the natural reaction is to write 7 of them in a list and reel them off with some silly jokes. Here's that happening right now.
Hey Dave, it's Rob.
Yeah, what do you want?
I just hear it's amazing when the famous purple stuffed worm in Flapjaw space with the tuning fork does a raw blink on Harakiri Rock. I need scissors. 61.
What are you talking about?
The tally.
I could have chosen many moments from the Metal Gear series for our first entry, but AI Campbell's codec meltdown towards the end of Metal Gear Solid 2 trumps them all in terms of fourth wall breaking madness. After revealing the entire game as being an elaborate simulation of the original Metal Gear Solid, a cheeky dig at the nature of sequels by Hideo Kojima, Campbell berates the player for spending far too long playing the game and suggests you turn the console off.
It's a genius moment because it makes you stop and think, have I been playing too long? Is this part of the game, or is it just some kind of elaborate safety warning?
It doesn't help that as this is going on, Raiden is cartwheeling naked through the barrels of a tightly guarded Arsenal gear. The whole thing feels like a lucid nightmare, the ever-present safety nets of having a gun and calling wise old Colonel Campbell for advice are stripped away, and all the while you wonder if the game has actually broken, if the PS2 has overheated and fried the disc, if the infamous words fish and mailed are the babbling death throes of a game played to breaking point for 6 hours straight.
Nope, it's just Kojima having a laugh. Outrageous.
How about we break our own rules for a second and do a nice entry, one where nobody dies or mentions Metal Gear, one where your face is the sun. Tearaway, a genius PS Vita platformer from Little Big Planet creators Media Molecule, continuously acknowledges the presence of the player and the seemingly divine effects he or she can have on the game's beautiful papercraft world. It's a wonderful communication between game and gamer, the likes of which we've never seen before. Tearaway is stamped with so much you, it's easy to see its world as an actually existing extension of our own.
You can't not smile while playing Tearaway. It just puts you in such a good mood. Such a good mood.
Then when you get to the end, you're presented with a beautiful picture book of all the amazing times you shared with Iota or Etoile, and it's as if Tearaway's world is bleeding into your own, and you cry a little bit because you've never seen anything so heartwarming in a game before. Boo-hoo, let's do someone dying again, namely you in Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, at the end of a seemingly routine mission full of blowing things up and making lots of noise.
As your squad is escaping, a massive nuclear explosion goes off and your helicopter plunges to Earth. That's fine, this kind of thing happens all the time in video games. You think, I'll just crawl out and survive. Somehow.
Wrong. Call of Duty 4 breaks the massive video game rule that is your protagonist can't die, at least not until the end, in one of the most harrowing scenes in recent gaming memory. You're forced to watch through the eyes of Sergeant Paul Jackson as his lids droop, his breathing slows, and his life ebbs away, all while a mindless mushroom-shaped catastrophe hangs in the air.
I was so shocked when I first played this, I restarted the mission, convinced I'd gone wrong somewhere. Such was my concrete certainty that no, you don't die halfway through a video game. That's against the rules.
But you do die, says the big angry bomb in the sky. Deal with it. Sometimes when I've got lots of important things to do, like sending Dave silly pictures of myself, I like it when games are short and sweet. Not everything has to be a 100-hour sandbox with 47 endings. But then 15 minutes of sitting at a table is pushing it a little bit, wouldn't you agree, Far Cry 4?
This naughty secret ending found right at the start of Far Cry 4 breaks a sacred video game rule, which I'm going to call the law of never really doing what you say you're going to.
Let me explain. When Pagan Min says, "Don't move, I will be right back," our video game-trained minds instantly translate that to what it really means, which is basically, "I'll never be back, This cutscene is over. Start the game now, please. You'll get up, you'll explore the room, you'll look at things really closely for no reason at all. You're starting a new game and testing out all the nuances. That's what these opening areas are for.
However, if you actually listen to Pagan Min and stay right where you are, then about 15 minutes later, which is precisely the amount of time it takes to torture someone, I know, I checked.
No! I'll tell you everything.
Wow, precisely 15 minutes. Pagan Min actually comes back.
Then the game ends and you notice the song that's playing is Should I Stay or Should I Go? And you think, oh, that's clever. And you start the game again and play it properly.